Welcome to our few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos, we have the privilege of reading Parshas Shoftim, which begins with the words, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecho b'chol she'arecha. Shoftim are judges, and shotrim are officers. Also, in the modern Hebrew language, we not only call shotrim officers, but actually policemen. So, in a sense, the pasuk is telling us that we have to appoint judges and policemen, people who will enforce the law of the Shoftim. And the pasuk goes on to say, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha b'chol she'arecha, in all of your gates you are to place these judges and officers, asher Hashem Elokecha nosein lecha lishvatecha, which Hashem, your God, has given to you and your tribes, and they are required to judge the nation with a judgment of tzedek, of righteousness. So there is an immediate awareness that the judges and the officers have a responsibility. The judges to come and proclaim justice when there's some need for a judgment, and officers to see to it that the people who live in the land of Israel that Hashem has given us, they will carry out the rules and regulations that Hashem has presented. And this pasuk can obviously be interpreted in many different ways. For example, Chassam Sofer tells us that, when we put on tefillin in the morning and we wrap the tefillin around our fingers, we recite the pasuk from Hosea in which it says, Ve'erastich li b'tzedek uve'mishpat uve'chesed uve'rachamim, that I betroth myself to Hashem with tzedek and mishpat, righteousness and justice, chesed uverachamim, with kindness and mercy. So Hashem has given us the land of Israel with His kindness and with His mercy, and we have a responsibility to carry out that in the land of Israel, and of course wherever the Jews reside, we carry out our share of it, which is chesed and rachamim was given to us by Hashem, and we have to carry it out by mishpat, by justice and mishpat on our part. That's the way the Chassam Sofer views it. And the truth of the matter is, if we think about it, the land of Israel, in order for it to function and to be protected, needs officers and judges to be able to see to it that the land is protected. One of the issues that we're dealing with in this terribly difficult time with the war going on is that there is a complaint on the leadership that they didn't protect the land well enough at the beginning. There's a need for officers and judges. We need police officers and army people to watch at all borders of the land of Israel. And one of the complaints that so many of the people of Israel have, and we do too, is that there seemed to be no advance warning and protection at the time of the terrible events of the Simchas Torah that took place almost 2 years ago. And consequently, we need to recognize that on the level of the entire land of Israel, we need to appoint Shoftim and Shotrim to watch for everyone. In addition, we could easily say that the responsibility of appointing Shoftim and Shotrim not only may apply in the national sense of the Jewish people, but even in smaller pockets of the Jewish people. L'mashal, as an example, in a shul, there's no question that a shul needs officers in order to see to it that the decorum of the shul is maintained. It always used to be that there were people who would walk around and tell people to not talk and interrupt, because that is the responsibility of the shotrim of a shul, of the officers of the shul. And also the shoftim, the leaders of the shul, have to set the shul on the right path. And the rav of the shul, as the head of all the leaders, has an awesome responsibility, which I know well about, and it's on my mind and on the minds of all Rabbanim, to see to it that the shul maintains its proper approach. So on a national level, we can understand that there is such a thing as shoftim and shotrim, and not only on a national level, but even on a community level. But the Shalah HaKadosh, the Shnei Luchos Habris, the author of that famous Sefer, Yeshaya Horowitz Zal, from the 16th century, he explains it in a more individualized fashion. He says, we know that the whole human being needs to individually make sure that the shoftim and the shotrim, the eyes which see, the mouth which speaks, the ears which hear, we need to appoint judges at all the gates of the human being where information comes into our mind and where we react to that information. We have to appoint in our own neshama judges and officers to see to it that these openings, these ways of imbibing information from the world at large, our eyes should look at the holy words of the Torah and at good deeds. Our ears should only hear proper discussions amongst Jews and avoid listening to any type of negative attitudes and anger between friends. And our mouth has a responsibility to speak in the most pleasant way about all our neighbors. We have a responsibility of the Ahavta l'reacha kamocha. We must love our neighbor as ourselves. We don't like all neighbors, but we have a love case and responsibility when it comes to the Jewish people, that the only way we can possibly get ourselves together and to reach the point where we see the Mashiach coming and peace on earth is if we appoint shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha b'chol she'arecha. So between the Chamsam Sofer and the Shalah HaKadosh, we have an awesome responsibility to pay close attention to this first pasuk in this week's Sedra, so that we enjoy what God promises us, that v'shoftu es ha'mishpat tzedek, they will judge the people with a justice of righteousness, and we will be worthy to maintain our presence and our peace in our homes, in our communities, and in the land of Eretz Yisrael. How valuable and appropriate. At the beginning of Chodesh Elul, do we have the responsibility to take our own personal selves? Let's only look for good amongst others, hear only good about others, and speak only good to others and about others, so that we have an opportunity to unite with all the Jewish people to bring about that the long awaited for peace on earth that we so desire and promote will come with the bringing this year, as soon as possible, the Mashiach Tzidkenu B'mheira V'yameinu Amen. I want to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbat Shalom U'mevorach. Let it be a Shabbos in which the words of the Chassam Sofer and the Shlah find actuality within our means, within our shul, within our community, within our homeland, within the world. Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha b'chol she'arecha. Shabbat Shalom U'mevorach.